Good evening, I should say to you guys, and welcome to the Whitfield Report, Saturday edition. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, not live from NGC Studios by the time that you've watched this, but I have recorded this in the past, present, future hour before I went on vacation. It's the magic of YouTube that I'm premiering this episode now, and y'all are watching it and still chatting in the live chat box, probably gossiping about me, or just chatting amongst yourselves. Who knows? I might have popped in the chat room already to watch with you guys. In which case, hello, future Sam. This is weird to watch myself from the fourth parallel, but I enjoy it. Fourth wall break. I might not be there. I don't know on Saturday night what I'll be doing. I could be slinging back a few beers in North Carolina. I don't know. At any rate, I am on vacation this week, or by the time you guys see this, I'll be on vacation. Right now, I'm recording this episode on Tuesday night before I leave tomorrow for a family vacation in North Carolina. But I still wanted to put out a show for you guys. I put out an audio exclusive podcast for you guys on Thursday, talking about the culture war a bit. So I hope that you guys who tuned into that enjoyed that. And if you haven't yet listened to that episode, what are you waiting for? Obviously, you want to finish this episode first, but you also want to head over to the audio podcast. Wherever audio podcasts can be found, search the Whitfield Report and check out this week's episode on the culture war. Real quick, as always, if you feel like contacting me about the show or anything, feel free to tweet me, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @70_NGC, hashtag Sam's Savages. Follow me on Gab at Sam Whitfield. Although Gab is up and down, as we all know. Facebook.com/The Whitfield Report. And thesamwhitfield.com is my web address. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. So, tonight, I figured I would change things up completely for you guys. I've talked about movies on this show before. I've talked politics. I'm not going to really do either of those things tonight. I'm really going to get a bit esoteric. And actually talk about something else I enjoy, which is books and fiction and novels. What I enjoy reading and what I've been reading lately. More specifically, I like politically incorrect literature. Not the literature some of you guys are thinking, but I enjoy fiction and non-fiction, but in terms of the fictional genre, I enjoy thrillers and specifically, you guessed it, political thrillers. And who is my favorite thriller author? Well, I have a few. Vince Flynn, who did the Mitch Rapp series. I like that a lot. One of my favorites, probably my favorite thriller author. Brad Thor, even though he was kind of never Trump, he writes objectively good stuff. His books are entertaining. However, no book and no author has made me simultaneously laugh at some really dark shit, and also just have absolute wow moments at the power of literature, quite like James Ellroy. Now, some of you guys may recognize that name, some of you might not. And this is going to be a show mainly about James Ellroy, or as I like to call him, the master troll of authors and the king of politically incorrect literature in the modern era. And plus, he's one of our guys. He's kind of conservative, so I like that about him too. James Ellroy. Let me pull up his Amazon page. So that you guys can see what I'm seeing. And we'll watch a couple videos on him as well. His humor is quite dark, but quite funny too. And as I said, he's a troll. So, James Ellroy. Right, let's go to his Amazon page. Okay. So, my lower third is kind of obstructing the screen here real quick, so let me move my lower third over here a bit so that you guys can read the bio. And I'll also link to his site in the description because, why not? Anyway, though, James Ellroy was born in Los Angeles in 1948. He is the author of the acclaimed LA Quartet, The Black Dahlia, The Big Nowhere, LA Confidential, which, yes, that is the same LA Confidential, the Oscar-nominated film with Kevin Spacey, Russell Crowe, and Kim Basinger. Very good film. And White Jazz, as well as the Underworld USA trilogy, American Tabloid, which is easily one of my favorite novels. That's part of the reason why I decided to do kind of a show about this tonight, ladies and gentlemen. American Tabloid, The Cold 6000, and Blood's a Rover, all which are very good. He is the author of one work of nonfiction, The Hijacker, The Hilliker Curse, My Pursuit of Women. Ellroy lives in Los Angeles. That is actually outdated, by the way, because about 5 years ago now, old James Ellroy decided that old Los Angeles was getting too expensive for him, and moved into my old stomping grounds of Denver, Colorado. Needless to say, I was already here when I found that out just a year ago, and I admit I am somewhat jealous that one of my literary heroes is, is living in my old state, and I'm not able to go, to one of his book signings, because I don't think he travels to Florida much. But at any rate, he's working on some new books too, or he has published 2 new books. The first is Perfidia over here, which you can see. That came out back in, let's click here, right? That was published, let's see, when was that published? I believe Okay, 2014. Okay. By the way, all of his books are set in the time period of the 1940s and 1950s. You will hear him explain this too, why he has decided to set his books in the 40s and 50s of Los Angeles. So Perfidia is one of his more recent books. His most recent book, which I just picked up, and I'll probably be listening to this on the road, is This Storm, which was published June 4th of this year, 2019. Both Perfidia and This Storm take place during World War II. It is his epic, one of his epic masterpieces. But my favorite book, and the one that I recommend that all of you guys pick up, is American Tabloid, Underworld USA, #1. All I can say is that this book fucking rules. Why? It's got everything that I like. And I mean everything. It's got deep political intrigue, right? This series, the American Underworld, the Underworld USA series, takes place a bit later in the 50s and 60s. This book begins during 1958. We see this book is fiction, but real world characters come into play throughout all his books, fictionalized versions of real people. So, this book basically American Tabloid follows the political handlers of JFK, and, we get to see how Kennedy got into the White House, the underworld connections, the Sam Giancana connections, how Pappy Kennedy was a bootlegger. We get all the juicy details on the Kennedy family. The affair with Marilyn Monroe in this book is fictionalized to a certain extent, but Ellroy also talks to some Secret Service agents who were there during the Kennedy administration. So basically, this book takes place from 1959, when Kennedy was first starting his bid for presidency, all the way up to that fateful day in Dallas, everything in between. Ellroy kind of, presents his own conspiracy of who killed Kennedy. That's not the, that's not the entirety of the book, but that is part of it in the third act, at least. But pretty much what I like about this book in the Underworld USA series is, right, America, we kind of have like this idealized version in our heads of what the 1960s was like. Everyone thinks that the 1960s, particularly the early 1960s, was a time of, relative innocence. Or at least that's what the normies think. No. Politicians were just as, dirty then as they are now. People were just as flawed and inhumane. Everyone was, fucking, sucking, killing, murdering each other. The world was just as dirty then as it is now. And, this book doesn't really have a happy ending. It's just humanity. The good aspects are portrayed of it in this book somewhat. The baddest aspects are portrayed. It's a time capsule, but it's a raw, real one too. It's fantastic. So American Tabloid, I would certainly recommend. Really, all his books I would recommend. The other book that a lot of people recommend, if you have to read just two, obviously you want to read American Tabloid, but you also want to read LA Confidential. The movie is fantastic. The book is even better. Again, it shows specifically in Los Angeles how Hollywood has always been, pretty slanted to the left, and how they've always been doing their thing. How there are good cops and bad cops in LA, and sometimes crooked cops and good cops, the lines get blurred. And oftentimes in this book, you will find yourself rooting for the quote-unquote anti-hero. This book is not politically correct either. None of Ellroy's works are politically correct. If the social justice mob gets its way, these books will probably all be banned at some point. Hopefully that doesn't happen. God forbid that doesn't happen. Over my dead body, that will happen. But who knows with the way publishers cave to politically correct gibberish these days. LA Confidential is an epic noir, a crime novel of astonishing detail and scope, written by the best-selling author of The Black Dahlia. A horrific mass murder invades the lives of victims and victimizers on both sides of the law, and 3 lawmen are caught in a deadly spiral. A nightmare that tests loyalty and courage, and offers no mercy, grants no survivors. Now, these books are also long in the tooth to read, but they're fantastic as well. Okay. Where do I begin with the, clips here? Shall we? Let me switch this back to the, camera view here. So, what is, hang on, I've got it, oh, that's Amazon Prime. I thought it was something counting down on my computer. Sorry about that. Anyway, so where do we start off in the clips department? So, like I said, Ellroy is a hilarious character. Well, first off, I want to start off playing this clip, James Ellroy on Obama. So, this is hilarious. This is where you can see that he's somewhat conservative. I'll also be playing a segment of an interview he did with Michael Savage a few years ago. That's pretty good as well. So, here's James Ellroy on President Obama from an interview back in 2012, actually. So, let's pull this clip up. Clip number 1. Go.
First of all, Obama looks like a ring-tailed lemur, and I don't trust him. I think he's completely full of shit. I think he'll squander
why
a
do you
lot
think
of our
that?
prestige. He spends too much money. He doesn't take a hard line in the Middle East. He's creating entitlement programs. They're going to bankrupt this country. He has waged class warfare and come down against success. It is not our birthright as Americans to be taken care of from the cradle to the grave. This is a warrior nation. We survive, we thrive, as long as we cleave rigorously to the concept of private enterprise and personal responsibility. And his every utterance goes in the face of that.
What do you think?
In short, where's Ronald Reagan now that we really need him?
Well, was Mitt Romney Ronald Reagan and we
No,
rejected
he was
him?
not. He was not. But what a fucking head of hair.
That's true. That's true. And
That fucker could give me a transplant. Shit.
where do you see America going? You must become, as a historical novelist, a bit of a prophet after a while. At least fancy yourself one, right?
No. I'm like Barry Goldwater. Yeah. Senator Goldwater, it has been said that you shoot from the hip. And he goes, yeah, and I never miss.
We're not going down the drain in this country?
No, we're going to survive. Yeah, we're going to do swell.
And what in us is going to make us survive? What's
Correct.
the element that can't be ruined?
Sorry about my
That
lower
je
third
ne sais
being
quoi
out of whack here.
that P.J. O'Rourke described, and this is a very rough paraphrase of America. We're descended from a grizzly bear and a stock market crash. We hold our sock hops in hell, and it gets better and better and better as he goes along. I wish I had more of it memorized.
Hi, it's Walter Kern from Byliner TV.
Okay, this is obviously just an ad. So anyway, first thing I like about him, he's kind of a right-winger, which I, like. So that's groovy. I really dig that shit, as Ellroy would say. Where do we go next in terms of Ellroy clips? Where do we go next, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, I have a pretty good idea. Let's first off, let me go back here. Let me move my lower third here to the left hand side where I usually have my thing. Let me also shrink the window a bit there. Okay. There we are. Okay. We're kind of doing this editing live here on the floor, folks. Alright, where else do I want to go here? Okay, ooh, let's see what Ellroy has to say about Jack Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe. That whole affair. What the actual story on that was. Clip number 2. Alright, let's get this full screen again. Bingo.
Jack Kennedy, let's cut the shit on. He was a 2-minute man, and he was hung like a fucking cashew. JFK, light switch. You see this right here? Yeah, he was a member of the Cashew Club, the club no man wants to belong to. I mean, you know where I got that from?
A club that Owen Benjamin also belongs to. Most likely. I mean, granted he is, what, 6'7", 6'8"? But anyone who talks about, you know, dicks, about how huge his about how, you know, huge his, you know, dick is, supposedly, a guy who's obsessed about it, isn't that big in reality, probably, actually, so you're welcome. There's your obligatory Owen bash for the evening.
I got that from fucking Freddie Otash. Hey, kid, JFK was hung like a cashew. He was a 2-minute.
Freddie Otash, for those of you who are wondering, Freddie Otash was one of the real-life private eyes in Los Angeles in the 1950s who would go around and basically dig up dirt on celebrities and feed them to the early tabloid rags here in America. Like, Confidential magazine was one of them, hence the name LA Confidential. Hence the name American Tabloid for one of Ellroy's novels as well.
Man, Jack Kennedy wanted to slip the schnitzel to the great women of the era over the course of 2 minutes, bullshit with them for a while, and send out for a club sandwich. That was Jack's deal right there. Jack was also, Wyman's words, a fucking hophead. He had every doctor on Bedford Drive in Beverly Hills writing the good shit for him.
I know that to be true.
It is true. Boy, man, the Beverly Hills pharmacies went out of stock when Jack the K.
You know who told me so? George McGovern.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
He told me one time Jack lost his black bag of meds in West Virginia on a campaign stop, and that the whole situation shut.
This is true, by the way. Jack Kennedy was our, you know, first hophead president, our first functional drug, our first, you know, high-functioning drug addict of a president. And by the way, Owen, Jack Kennedy was the one who wanted to send us to the moon, and we ended up doing it quite successfully in '69. You know, granted, he was a drug addict, but he still, you know, wasn't as crazy as you are, so.
Shut down for 3 days while they tried to find it because it was so scandalous, the thought that somebody else would.
Yeah, Jack was a hophead. Jack was a hophead. He was a member of the Cashew Club. But you asked me about Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
First of all, Jack didn't really have affairs. He was a misogynist. He didn't want to get too close to women. He was introduced to Marilyn Monroe by a producer named Charles Feldman in 1954. He probably saw her 8 times for an hour and a pop up through her death in the summer of '62. She OD'd, there's no conspiracy.
Hi, it's Walter Kern from Byliner TV.
Okay, now, you know, we may, I don't want to dive into the Marilyn Monroe conspiracies. There are conspiracies that she had dirt on the Kennedys, or that, you know, she had dirt on other people. Doesn't really matter. It was 50 years ago, and she was an actress. Okay, moving on. Probably this is why I love Ellroy the most. He is super politically incorrect in the way he uses words, and you know, he loves to use politically incorrect language. This is one of the things that I love about his writing, even here in 2019. So this clip is called James Ellroy's Dictionary of Slang. So let me get this full screen again, and okay.
I want a dictionary of American urban slang that you fucking approve of. That's
Listen, Daddy-O, the first thing, Yiddish, you got to embrace Yiddish. It's from the gut. It just goes. It flies, and it looks good on the page. All those hard G's and those hard K's. Moving on, if there's a hard C in any word that you write, you, Walter Kern, a C like that, fuck that shit. 3 K's, KKK. Right?
Yeah.
Your name's Kern, K-A-R-N?
Right.
Fuck that shit. K-K-K-I-R-N. You bring in some race shit, you bring in some white supremacist shit, it looks good on the page, it's outrageous, it reads, oh fuck, he said that, and it's funny, what does it mean?
Before we came on, I said, you know, you're the Lenny Bruce of our time. I was trying to explain you to someone who hadn't read you the other day, and I said, James cracked the genetic code of political correctness, and then he told the code to fuck off. He took the trashiest language in America and brought it front and center, which was the language of the tabloid, of the sleaze.
Frank O'Connor, the great novelist, circa 1900, wrote The Octopus, the muckraking book about the building of the railroad, said, literature that cannot be vulgarized is no literature at all and will not last. I revel in the American idiom. I love slang of any kind. I love those big hard K's. I love Yiddish. I love black junkie hepcat talk. I love police stories. I love racial invective. I love putting it all together.
Me too.
Having fucking fun with it. But there are people out there who honestly think that cracking a fag joke is an equal to offense to lynching that guy up in Wyoming. And it simply isn't the case. My favorite line from Shakedown, currently on sale from Byliner, Fred Otash ruminates in Shakedown, I don't like Ellroy. He's a right-wing religious nut and a backer of Mitt Romney's current White House bid. I'm an Obama man. I dig the notion of a coon president. How can you not have fun with that shit?
Hi, it's Walter Kern from Byliner TV.
Okay,
I'm hoping
so,
that you're going to subscribe. I'm hoping you're going to watch my show and others on the lip.
So, as I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to play one more. Well, actually, we're coming up on 30 minutes, and I do want to keep this show relatively short here tonight. Because I've got to do some other stuff tonight. But he's a terrific author, and I really recommend that you guys check him out. So I'll link to his Amazon page in the description of the video for you guys in the live stream, and also for those of you listening to the audio podcast. I would love to make this show a little longer, but needless to say, I still have some things that I have to do around here before I leave for my trip in the past, present, future hour. So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the show. I realized that it was a bit unorthodox for me to talk about like my favorite authors. But, you know, this show wasn't necessarily political tonight, but I enjoyed diving into some other things tonight, and I hope you guys did too. I'll probably review some other movies and whatnot in future episodes as well. So anyway, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in to tonight's show. I hope you all are having a great weekend as I'm enjoying my vacation, or hopefully I will be enjoying my vacation when you guys see this. So anyway, folks, from all of us here at NGC Studios, good night, God bless, and God save this great nation, and I'll see you back once I hear live next week. Good night, God bless, and please check out James Ellroy's books. God bless you all.